Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Boruto anime review. This one's going to be for episode 229, which is called Breach of Orders. Overall, pretty enjoyable episode. Not one of the greatest episodes of Boruto, but it was not exactly like this was like kind of weak like at times some of these kind of anime original arcs can be. This actually had some pretty nice substance to it with the development for Kawaki, because it's Kawaki's mission to sort of, if he succeeds, he becomes a shinobi. There's significance behind this, and I actually thought they managed to do much more with this episode and Kawaki's dynamic with Shikada and Shocho, as well as the client here, than they did in the previous episode. So it's one of those ones where, like, yeah, they actually got this one pretty alright, and I think next week's episode, given what happens, is going to be quite good going forward. So the story to this, it's actually like relatively complicated. The idea that one of these again non-five big villages is struggling, and there's an epidemic is what they call it, but basically, you know, there's a disease going around, and this guy has created a cure for it, but it takes a while to actually, you know, happen. It's kind of hard to produce, and the feudal lord of this village begins to sort of use this to effectively make money. The medical guy, though, decides to improve this by making it more sort of fast acting, easier to produce and stuff like that. But in terms of the business side of things, that would mean that the cure wouldn't really make much money anymore, and so the feudal lord kind of turns on the medical guy. So he sends out all of his students with the cure to sort of protect it while he stays back. And so that's where the opening scene of this episode happens, where we see one of these boys get just killed by the two assassin characters who we meet in this episode, who are Kurabane and Jujumaru, and killed in a pretty brutal way. So it takes a while for this to come out from our sort of client character here. In that initially it seems like, oh, he's just protecting a valuable piece of art, but it turns out no, it's actually the cure for this disease, and this is why he was being so cautious about his money, because he needed to use the last little bit of money he had to guarantee this cure got there. I think the core bit of development that I liked here was that they did have Kawaki be the one to form the dynamic with the client here, and how it stemmed off from sort of a scene between Shocho and Kawaki, where they take a break, they decide to eat, but of course, because Kawaki was late for the mission, he didn't bring any food with him, so Shocho shares some of her food with Kawaki. He then goes to talk to the client, and it's revealed, of course, that this guy is so focused on the mission that he hasn't even bought himself any food for the long journey. So Kawaki shares some of his food, which he just got, with him, and they start talking, and this is where they sort of begin to have their connection of, you know, he thinks that, oh, because you're from the Leaf Village, you're kind of well off, but then Kawaki reveals he's not actually from the Leaf Village, and so they bond that little bit more just over that topic. And it was just a fun scene where they both address the idea that they both look up to someone, and they strive to be the best they can be, you know, to be like that person. So for Kawaki, that's obviously Naruto. That's why Kawaki wants in any way to become a shinobi. And then for the client, it's obviously the his sensei, the guy who made the cure, who he looks up to very heavily. So things change after that. Before this, the guy was very worried, doubting that the mission would actually succeed, but that gives him a little bit more confidence. The, I suppose, core scene of the episode was definitely the fight. They specifically have Jujumaru stay behind to fend off the entire team. And like a lot of these episodes go, they give the character, the villain, a unique jutsu, and it's about how do they get around this one. In this case, it's this unique sort of like blood web kind of imprisoning jutsu, where if you touch off his blood, he is able to then control you. Now, they didn't use it too much. They had the client try and run through. He gets turned, but Shikadai quickly knocks him out. And they have Shikadai be the one to figure out how to eventually beat it in the end, which is that he realizes that if you destroy part of the web, it takes time to regenerate. So if you can quickly destroy a lot of the web, it will take a long time to regenerate, and you can actually fight Jujumaru kind of head on. And so Chocho uses human boulder, takes out a lot of it, and that gives them the opportunity to take out Jujumaru relatively easily. Shadow Possession, and then Kawaki with the kind of enhanced hand uppercut. And the team worked together. There was some nice moments where there was incoming attacks, and I think Kawaki jumped ahead and blocked it with his arm. So the team was actually working well together. Once I think Kawaki saw that there's sort of some reason to be motivated to actually fight for this person, you could tell that he actually began to work kind of well as part of the team. After this is, we just get the idea that as part of the mission, of course, Chocho had to protect the client, so she took a kunai to the back. The cure does get taken during the episode, so that is a reason why they have to pursue Kurabane, who's kind of gone off on his own. So they have Jujumaru captured, Chocho's injured, and it leaves them with the unique situation of what happens now. Chocho probably needs to be taken back to the village, because even though the guy knows medical ninjutsu, he only knows basic medical ninjutsu. So there's only so much he can do. Chocho needs some help, and Kawaki wants to continue on with this mission because he's now incredibly invested. Whereas Shikadai is making the sort of correct sort of captain decisions, which is to, we can retreat now. We can make it back to the village. We might lose the cure, but everyone will survive. But Kawaki sort of makes the point that, no, I'm invested now. I'm not actually officially a shinobi yet, so I don't have to follow the orders exactly. So he's going on his own with the client, and Shikadai is bringing Chocho back to the village. Now, this is where you bring in the scene where they did have a little bit with Boruto, Sarada, and Mitsuki, who were on the mission that I suppose Kawaki was originally meant to do, which was just escorting some cows somewhere. So they come across Kurabane and Jujumaru, but don't pursue because they don't know the information. My guess is that next time out, they will have Shikadai come across Boruto, and effectively him telling them, you go after Kawaki over this way, I'll bring Chocho back to the village. And we'll see how much of a friend I suppose Shikadai is with regards to what he reports back to the village. I'm guessing Shikadai will ultimately report that he told Kawaki to go with the client, and just so Kawaki actually gets the rank of shinobi, because I suppose he can tell that Kawaki actually is trying to do things in the right way, the sort of Leaf Village way. So I don't think Shikadai would necessarily get Kawaki in trouble for doing what is typically the right thing in the Leaf Village. So I think that's most of what I want to say about this episode. It's obviously going to be, a two-parter. Next time out, we'll see Kurabane in action. We'll, I suppose, get an explanation for what his jutsu is. It seemed to be almost like dehydrating someone to kill them. We'll see how exactly it works. Is it water related, or is it like taking life force out of people? That could be interesting, because he definitely seems to be implied to be the more dangerous one, even though the sort of blood possession jutsu was actually pretty strong as well. So yeah, surprisingly a good episode. Like what they're doing with Kawaki. I hope he does become a shinobi and they don't do the whole kind of tease of a promotion but then don't do it like they did with Mitsuki and Boruto. I hope they actually commit to it with Kawaki here. But yeah, that has been the video. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts are, but that's been it. Thanks for watching, and bye.